And welcome to our Wednesday afternoon night live here on Inside Texas. Got Nash Talks Texas in the building and Miss Michelle Lynn. How are my guests? How are we doing, guys?
Doing good.
Doing good, doing good. I think I'm doing a little better than one of the people in here.
Yeah, okay. I'm a little under the weather, and you'll probably be able to tell. So if AI disappear off screen for a few moments, Nash and Michelle got it, and I promise I'll be right back. But I do appreciate you guys being with us here on this afternoon. We're going to do a little bit of stadium discourse. Everybody wants to talk, rankings and lists. This off season, it's that time of the year, so we're going to lean into a little bit, have some fun. But hey, real quick, guys, go ahead and take advantage of that Inside Texas flash sales. Just wrong flash sale. There's the right flash. So $1 for the next 3 months, guys. And you can join Inside Texas. I know a lot of you guys are members already, but if you haven't done so, or if you need to renew, take advantage of that great deal put on by Inside Texas and On3. All right, guys, let's get to it. Michelle, we talked last week, hey, what are we talking about? And I didn't really have a topic for you. I was like, we just kind of wing it sometimes here in the off season because there's a lot of different things you could talk about. I feel like fans' minds are a little bit everywhere. Some are very obsessed with all these rankings that are coming out all over their social media from everybody. Some want to dive into practice details. Some want to hear recruiting. It's a little bit of everything. And so I'm sitting at the flag football field on Sunday, all day, every Sunday, like I do. And I'll always update you guys on that. And I'm sitting there. I have 2 hours between games, and I'm like, what are Nash, Michelle, and I going to talk about on Wednesday? What's our Wednesday show going to look like? And then I see a little first grade young man by the name of Weston Beanstra go up and just absolutely moss a kid. I'm talking old school moss, none of this head top stuff that the kids old school moss, and the crowd popped. The big crowd pop. You hear the juice from the little first grade crowd. It was awesome. And so right then and there, I was like, hey, we're going to lean into that. We're going to lean into some crowd talk. Obviously, it's a lot of fun. When we're getting into these, because it's all about any given Saturday, really. It's the whole mantra of the SEC. The SEC life's a little bit different at nighttime, and I think that's clearly where DKR shines and when this is biggest and brightest. But at the same time, I think we could do a little bit better as far as some of the lesser opponents. If Kentucky or Mississippi State, and no disrespect to those programs, but they don't carry the same lore that maybe an Alabama, Georgia, Florida, etc. Would carry. So we're going to get into all of it, but first we're going to have a little bit of fun. And I have a question for Nash, Michelle, anybody here in the comments. The most overrated venue to play in, the most overrated environment in the SEC. Who is it?
I'll let Michelle go. Oh, she's muted.
You throw her to the fire, baby.
Okay. So not to ruffle feathers to start it off, but I would have to say A&M is the most overrated place. I feel like at the end of the season, they were even going over the stats. Kirk Herbstreit was in the limo with a couple of other game day hosts, and they were like, when's the last time A&M won anything big at Kyle Field? And so I think, to me, I know that they're really consistently good, but I don't know that it ever has made that much of an impact. So I would have to say they were overrated a little bit. I don't know, just my opinion.
Well, I mean, when you look at the numbers and against, they beat some big opponents at Kyle Field, but since the move to the SEC, they've played a lot of big opponents at Kyle Field. Mm-hmm. And so, I know our guys, Billy Lucci and those over at TexAgs will probably be able to break out the numbers a little bit better and counter anything that I'm about to say. It is a fun environment. It is not a scary environment in my mind.
Right.
It is different going to Death Valley. It's different going to, I'm going to even say Alabama. And I didn't think Alabama was outwardly really cool environment, but as far as intimidating, that is where, and again, I'm not sitting here saying that DKR is any more intimidating than Kyle Field or in Bryant-Denny Stadium, but I'm making your point. I can see it, And
I think it has to do with the word overrated, because I feel like it probably is a more intimidating environment. I don't think Alabama's environment is that intimidating, but I don't think they've been known, at least since the Saban era when they were so spoiled, I don't think they're really known as having the most intimidating environment. Whereas Kyle Field, they're always pounding their chest. Kyle Field is the scariest place in the world. I'm like, is it though? Is it really? Because I went to Athens, Georgia, and we feared for our life. So I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's definitely, I think they're really good about being consistently present and into it for any game. But I don't know. I feel like it's a little overrated in terms of like the intimidation factor.
I mean, and again, the win-loss record at home would back you up. You know what I mean? As you know, they claim it's one of the more difficult places to play in college football. Sort of this Death Valley, a little bit different of a home record there, going into Death Valley at night and winning, in my eyes, is just a little bit bigger of an accomplishment. And again, I'm saying that as, you know, guy who sat there last year and watched Texas kind of dominate that game at Kyle Field. In the comments, appreciate you, Chris. Appreciate you being in here. I saw your comment up there as well, Robert. We put that up a little bit earlier. We're always Team Bishop over here, Mr. Roberts. Absolutely, my man. We'll get into the recusal. Absolutely, you cannot not talk about that. Remind me, we have to bring that up, because I just feel like that situation is 2026 college football in a nutshell. That's where we're at. That's the era that we're in. All kinds of craziness. And so, yeah, Chris coming in. Also, Chris coming in with Kyle Field votes. Hey, Neyland Stadium. I'm curious about that one. What makes Neyland overrated in your mind, NIL and rev share? I personally love Neyland Stadium. I think it's one of the more fantastic venues to watch a college football game. I think Nash will probably have an opinion on that. Or, you know, he also had we talked a little bit about Neyland, but all right. Phil, going through the comments real quick just for a moment, guys. Chris says DKR is a lot. Yeah, I agree with you. CDC coming into town, especially like the full game day environment around the stadium, pregame stuff, like that was definitely like taken up a notch. But the wine and cheese crowd, like, it's not an inaccurate knock, in my opinion. You know, sometimes I feel like Texas fans need to see that success. They need to see it be proven to them before they really ratchet it up, or it takes a really big time opponent and then it's full stop, 3.5, 4 hours, you know, they're revved up. You're curious on your thoughts before we move on, like kind of where does DKR stand in your mind? What are maybe something that you might even do to improve the environment, if anything, and then just kind of where does it fall in the pecking order amongst the SEC?
Well, so I was going to say my overrated environment. I didn't get to say one yet.
Oh yeah, well, you got to say that. Sorry, Nash, jump in there, man.
No, you kind of called Neyland Stadium.
There you go.
I
felt like we were leading into it. Yeah,
it's their average margin versus ranked opponents is negative 10.2. They pack a lot of people in there, a lot of sardines in the can. But ultimately, when you're talking about, I think you said it best for I forget what school you were talking about, where you're like, hey, you know, is it a good, you know, atmosphere, right? Like, I think we need to separate the word, like, what's an atmosphere, what's an environment, you know, how tough is a place to play? When I think of a tough place to play, I think of their fans they're making, you know, games incredibly, you know, the games are closer. But over the last 3 years, they have not won. Not only have they have a record that's right there with Oklahoma. They have 17 wins and 4 losses. But it's when they play a ranked game, I think they only have one ranked win in that stadium. So, I mean, it's one of those deals where I have a hard time, you know, understanding why it's such a tough place to go play.
See, now you're hurting my heart. I love Neyland, man. I think Neyland's fantastic.
Hey, it might. That's where it goes to, like, it might be a good environment, you know, like good play, like
fair.
They put on a good show, but
fair.
Does it do anything? Does it come in the win-loss column? Not really.
Well, this makes me sick to ask, but now I'm asking the question in defense of both Tennessee and Texas A&M. Does win-loss record ultimately, you know, does that decide how difficult a place is to play? Because I think that if Nick Saban took anybody anywhere in the country from 2008 to 2023, that they're going to win a damn lot of home games. I do not think that Alabama traditionally each and every Saturday is one of the top 5, 6, 7 places in the SEC to play. So, playing devil's advocate, you know, like, is that the outlier? Is that the measuring stick for a difficult environment? Is it win-loss total? And I hate to do this because I just sit there and talked about Michelle and A&M, and now I'm kind of defending Tennessee here. And yeah, I mean, again, it's all perspective. But what do y'all think? Is it ultimately win-loss? Is that what makes it difficult to play?
I think that has to at least be like, when you're looking at the whole conversation, I think that's where it has to at least start. Because if you're not forcing games to be lost by the opponent coming in, I mean, it's hard to say that place is a tough place to walk out with a win. Because I think that when the conversation's about toughest places to go play, I think that that's where it kind of starts. Is how hard is it going to be to walk out of there? But then then you can get more nuanced into, okay, well, how good was the team under the coach? How what was Tennessee's like win-loss projection going into the seasons, each of these seasons? But in my opinion, Tennessee's been one of those teams that over the last, because the numbers I just said were over the last 3 years. Over the last 3 years, they've been one of the best, not the best teams, but they've been right there in the top 25. They have plenty of talent. It's not like they're not throwing shade or anything like that, but it's not like they're Missouri or Mississippi State, right?
Right.
It's not like they're playing at such a big talent gap. To me, at a certain point, the results have to come through and they have to matter.
It's kind of interesting because I'd say Tennessee and A&M are two teams that have maybe underachieved the past few seasons. Like, I think that both of them were good enough to potentially make some noise, and then they never made some noise. And I say this knowing that last season Texas also underachieved, so I'm not trying to be like Texas always executes. But it's interesting because it's like they both have this reputation for the most feared environment, but then when push comes to shove, has it really mattered? Not really. I don't know. Just thought it was kind of interesting between those two teams specifically.
Well, and like in defense of as I'm a Texas fan defending Texas A&M and Oklahoma up here right now, right? And in defense of those two schools, their win-loss, their margin in the ranked games is minus 0.4 and minus 0.7. Tennessee's minus 10.7. So it's not just like they're losing. They're losing, right? Yeah. Like their fans are headed down to bars in Knoxville, Tennessee. in the early quarter losing.
Like you said earlier, you start to get like into the nuances of it all, and it's like, okay, A&M's got better recruiting classes. They've got the better defensive team over the last few years. And A&M beat Alabama as an 18.5-point dog at home in 2021 or whatever that was. I was so close, guys. I predicted going into that season on a show that A&M would lose 3 straight games. I said they'd lose to Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Alabama. And they were on me, son. They were on me. No chance that happens. Jimbo Fisher's not losing 3 straight games, 2 of them at home. It would never happen. You lose to Arkansas. They lose the next week to my guy, Will Rogers. And then I'm chest out like a peacock. I'm strutting, baby. I know they're dropping that 3rd game in a row to Alabama. And then not only do they beat Alabama, but Texas blows a 28-7 lead to Oklahoma on the same day. So, yeah, stuff happens sometimes, and it ain't fun out there. Yeah, I think A&M was when the video game came out. And I know there was a lot of opinion shared about that, and a lot of it has to do with the win-loss record. But yeah, that's I'm right there with you, Chris. We got to play some big-time night games in this conference, but you also have to beat some big-time opponents at night in this conference. Texas should have plenty of opportunity to do so in this next season. We talked about the potential. You're going to have a minimum, in my opinion, 4 primetime kickoffs. At minimum, probably 5. A really good chance for Texas and DKR to kind of, stick their chest out and show what they're about right there. Now, I'm going to give a little leniency to the DKR crowd. In the 2010s, you lose Nebraska, you lose Colorado, you lose Texas A&M, coming in to DKR at a couple of them every other year, or sorry, A&M every other year, Colorado, Nebraska once every 4 years, and I know there's Missouri as well, but Colorado and Nebraska have very big and proud traveling fan bases. It got hard to get up and excited for, Iowa State, and sometimes the biggest home game of the season would be Oklahoma State or Kansas State. And so, I think this is, a really good chance for, DKR to kind of, rekindle itself as, being a difficult environment to play in. I will say, though, again, going back and reiterating, I think we could definitely improve, those 11 o'clock games. You got Arkansas in town, maybe Arkansas is a bad example because a lot of people really still get hyped up to play Arkansas. But yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead, Chris. Would LSU be number 1? They're clear cut my number 1. I think you go back and look at the NITE record alone in the last 2 decades, and if you come up with any other answer outside of LSU, then then clearly you're factoring in more than just wins and losses. But for me, I think Georgia, I think Alabama, I think Texas, I think Oklahoma all kind of fit into their own tier of when the opponent's right, the juice is there. I think any of those 4 can beat any of the other 4 on any given Saturday. I think all 4 are difficult places to play. I do think Nayland and A&M, for my personal self, would be in a tier a little bit above Texas, Georgia, Bama, OU. But yeah, LSU number 1. How about you, Nash?
I mean, I'm not done really going through and like getting all the data, but I mean, it's just they're definitely up there. They're right above Georgia. I mean,
but even
well,
is
no,
Georgia
no,
like
okay,
recency
I
bias?
said it wrong. I have it wrong. No, they're
Okay.
actually they've only had, and this is the other thing is they've only had 3 ranked opponents come to Death Valley in the last 3 years, which is wild to me. That feels wrong, but it's, I mean, the numbers are the numbers. Most of their ranked games have been on the road, but I mean, they have this is where it kind of comes into like, the nuanced conversation. How good is the team that you've had? But in my opinion, they've had a pretty good team. They're at a negative 16.7 a point margin. Now it's because there's a couple they lost to Texas A&M in 24 points and Alabama by 29 points.
Mm-hmm.
But Texas A&M is ranked number 8. Alabama's ranked number 17. I mean, here's the deal: is like a couple years ago, I think that there's no question, because to what you said about the night games, I think until Texas A&M won over there, or Alabama, I forget which one of them it was, but until one of them won in Death Valley, they were literally undefeated in night games. Like they just had never lost a night game.
That's a great comment right there. I mean, it is a big part.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
I think that we'll have to see how this like goes in the future, but I mean, they're 19-2, right? The only 2 games that they've lost are those ranked games, or 2 of those 3 ranked games. But then again, that goes to show, like, I mean, well, when the opponent, when the teams are even, and people head, and you go into that environment, who walks out with a winner, or who walks out with a loss? I mean, the only thing that I'm like hesitating on is that there's only 3 ranked games to go off of, so it's not like there's a big sample size for LSU.
Put down the stats, Nat, and tell me with your heart: is LSU the most difficult place in the SEC? You've watched college football your whole life. You play college football games. You know what other schools are in this conference. You could go out there on a limb and just be like, yeah, it's most difficult. You don't need a stat to back you up. You know about Death Valley, my man.
It's called Death Valley, for Christ's sake. It's got to be LSU. It has to be.
And we just ran through all the other big environments. I just feel like on a consistency basis.
It's got
my apologies to Daily Joy and all my LSU friends. I'm so sorry, but I can't get behind it. I can't get behind it right now.
Hey, I like it, man.
Look, again, 2 to 3 years ago, you asked me this question. I just said I'd have slapped myself for saying anything else, but here I am.
Like, I'm not going to hold the Brian Kelly era against them.
So say that, yes, and that Brian Kelly did numbers on our guy Nash.
We're gonna forget about Brian Kelly, just like I kind of forget about the era, between Mac Brown and now Sark. I kind of, we'll just, put that in a corner. We're gonna put Brian Kelly in a corner, and we're gonna give LSU the crown because it's called freaking Death Valley. Period.
Overrated.
Love it. We're gonna keep going. We'll keep chirping about some SEC environments and stadiums. But first, we're gonna hear a word from our sponsor, Mr. David McClellan.
Big financial decisions don't have to feel overwhelming. There's someone who can guide you every step of the way. David McClellan is a fiduciary financial advisor with Forum Financial, and he's working closely with his clients as a true financial life coach, guiding every aspect of your financial journey with expertise and care. If his name sounds familiar, that's because David was a swimmer at Texas and a member of several national championship teams. Today, he channels that same championship mindset into helping people win with their finances. David specializes in financial planning, and he's contributed numerous articles to Kiplinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. And right now, David is offering viewers a free intro consultation to assess your financial situation. Do not miss this chance to get personalized guidance from a trusted expert. To schedule your free consult, email David at dmcclellan@forumfinancial.com, or you can call him directly at 312-933-8823. The contact info is in the description.
All right, guys, keeping it going here. And Nash won't commit to LSU at number 1. Michelle and I definitely have. So at some point, Nash, I might need to, yeah, I just might need you to give us your number one, man. That was the whole point of the show. We got to figure out who you think is up there. This is huge. Sean Miller just offering Dia Bell's brother. That it would be a massive coup.
Wow.
And again, we are talking football and stadiums tonight, but Sean Miller is playing no games. And I tried to tell people like Texas is going to have very, very quickly have some of the better offenses that they've ever had. Way too many people hung up on Sean Miller, lack of defense, and then a little bit of trouble in Arizona doing exactly the same thing that every other big blue blood program was doing at the time. This man is on fire. He is cooking. Now, again, it is a pretty crazy era of college basketball where we have guys who have recorded NBA stats, not G League stats, NBA stats, and are now coming down back into the college ranks and playing. So it is crazy.
Wild time to live.
I just can't say, hey, Texas should be this type of team. They should fall in it, because right now there's nothing that tells me that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is not going to be playing for A&M next week, or he would go right down the road in Oklahoma City for OU and line it up. There's nothing in the world that is believing or has me believing these things can't happen. It is wild out there. Angie, I don't know. I think you're probably talking about A&M here. I would imagine, just knowing our relationship, the all bark no bite, and the timing of that comment. And nothing beats our drone shows. It was really, really cool touch. And again, Texas went over to Alabama and saw all the red lights, the crimson lights in between the third and fourth quarter. And I think, that was, Alabama was not the first school to kind of have the lights and the drone show and stuff, but Texas has really kind of just taken that, of course, in Texas fashion, to a bigger and better level. So, I mean, again, not knocking our environment. I think it's only gotten better.
What's interesting is about the whole Texas environment is a lot of people, they love when they start talking about the environments, they immediately go straight to Penn State, right? And they go to the whiteouts and all that stuff. That's who CDC brought with him. That's who he hired away. He brought we have the guy that ran all that, the Mo Bamba, all that stuff. That's the guy that's doing the Texas environments. So all the stuff that Mississippi State that Penn State had, going for them when they were, when they were getting real viral for a few years on social media. That's our guy. So I mean, it doesn't make any, it doesn't make me surprised that Texas is actually going out there and putting forth their best effort.
Real quick, in my defense, I did say down the road, Quentin. It's right down the road. All right, it's a short trip. All right, let's not pretend like Norman's not a suburb. But going on, Penn State is lame and broke. That's my grandfather played for Penn State. That dagger. I will always root for Penn State after Texas and Michigan. Don't tell my late grandfather, but the incredible environments up there. A big thing of that is the noise that gets piped in throughout a stadium. A lot of Aggies complaining about the noise that was around DKR in November when Texas ended that regular season unbeaten, or ended their undefeated regular season. I'm cool with it. Pump in the noise, get people going up. If people want to sit on their hands, okay, sure. All right, a lot of people are there. There's a lot of people that have never been in that stadium before and watching their college football game for the first experience. That happens each and every week in every single stadium across the entire country. And then two, manufactured juice, bring it in. Again, I know that like we've talked, I've made comments about how I can hear crowd noise at A&M. It sounds like it's actual like crowd noise. Hey, it's part of it. If other schools are doing it, I'm glad that Texas is kind of playing that game as well. I'm not knocking anybody for bringing it in, but you, Kodak, I'm coming for you for that lame comment, man. I'm going to remember that. Wimby to the 40. There you go, right there. Katie still has a year left, and I'll take him whether he's 37 years old or 77 years old. All right, y'all are still sleeping on Durantula out there, but
KD, he still has some eligibility, right? Because he only did 1 year. Maybe we can get him back.
Hey, KD, Miles Turner, let's bring back the whole gang.
Get the gang back together. Come on.
There we go.
Different years, but yeah.
I know, but
I need PJ Tucker back. Give me PJ Tucker back. Again, guys. A little past.
We're gonna have the big three going here pretty soon if you keep listening off these names.
It does bother me that Penn State doesn't have their names on the shirt jerseys. I just had to bring that up because it is. I mean, come on. I know it's tradition. I know you have a lot of history, but it is what it is. And again, we're kind of talking SEC environments. Penn State is definitely one of the cool ones out there. Obviously Texas just had a trip to the Big House. That's another special one. Me personally, I think, we've kind of gone through tiers here. As far as Texas goes, I think CDC is pushing all the right buttons. He's getting everybody involved. He's doing a lot of things. Again, the music's a big part of it. The student interactions, the student support, I think is really where, he's had his biggest imprint on, just the game day environment. The students are revved up. They're ready to rock. And it's almost an every Saturday thing. Depends. Again, there's some events in Austin throughout the season that could affect, the Saturday crowd the student crowd and what time they're showing up. But yeah, it's just baby steps, man. It's getting better and better. I think you're doing a really, really good job of getting people riled up. But at the same time, as far as Texas, as we just said earlier in the show, to take that next level as far as, reputation, I guess, the stadium reputation amongst its peers, you're gonna have
that's just not going to happen, though.
it is if you go beat some big opponents.
We already have. I mean, like,
tell me who we
the
beat.
the only loss that Texas has in the last 3 years is to Georgia.
That's true, but tell me who we beaten at home that's a big time opponent that is gonna just people are like, man, that DKR helped get that get that team across the finish line today. Name a team more talented that we played at home to where we've had to be like, I mean, TCU at home in 2023, top 10 opponent, didn't go well. 2022, Alabama, top 10 opponent at home, lose that one. Obviously we know about the Georgia game, and it's not me knocking them. I'm just saying, who have we beaten at home? Like, I need to know.
Who have you played? No.
That's my thing.
I mean, honestly, probably like
A&M.
You do have a point because A&M would be the biggest one. Behind that, Clemson. There's a couple other teams.
Now listen, Clemson was
I believe them all at Texas stuff.
Clemson was probably as pure an environment as DKR's had. That was incredible. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying. Everybody looking around was like, well, Texas should have beat Clemson. You know what I mean? It wasn't just the fact that, they got them at home that day. And again, Texas under Sarkisian is going to be just about as talented as anybody out there. But let's see here.
That's the hard thing about being the Texas brand is you're just expected to win every game, And like I'm guilty of that. I expect us to win every game. And so even though like last season, us talking about the 3 top 10 or top 15 wins, everybody's like, well, duh, you should have. You still lost to, Team X and Team Y. So it's hard because we just like don't give ourselves any credit, even when we do have ranked wins. It's like, well, they weren't ranked high enough, So I think if we can win this Ohio State game this year, that would help sort of change the narrative of like, we don't win any big games. But at the same time, kind of like Nash is saying, people will still be like, well, they showed it's about time they beat them. And so we're still not going to like get the credit. If
I just don't think they're ever going to like Texas is one of those schools that's really easy to get to hate on. I mean, if you hate on Texas, you're getting brownie points in the cultural world just instantly. They
free clicks, baby. Free clicks, free likes. We all know how that goes. Now, I unfortunately was not there, but it sure looked and sounded like one of the biggest and best environments in DKR history last year with A&M. So it's not me.
Was up there with the Alabama one, if you were there for Alabama.
But I expect DKR to look like that versus Texas A&M. You know what I mean? Like I expect that. That's not a wow factor. I expect when same thing as I was at Kyle Field in 2024 when Texas went over there, blown away. You know what I mean? Like it was incredible. First time they played each other in 13 years. It was always going to be that way. It doesn't make it any less cool. But as far as like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden this home field environment's revved up. I just need to see a little bit more. Ohio State's definitely a must-win game. We've talked about that. You can't go 0-3 against Ryan Day. We're already staring Georgia 0-3 in the face. And so again, with this schedule, you get Ohio State at home. I don't know what Florida looks like by the time they've come there, but I've got Florida only having one loss. So I should say I don't know where from a ranking standpoint. Texas is going to have the opportunity to play a few big games at home this year.
And I can tell you right now, if we beat Ohio State, the instant narrative is, well, y'all wouldn't beat last year's Ohio State if they came to DKR. Like that's just instantly what people are going to say. Oh, y'all got them when y'all beat them when they're lesser. After they'd sent guys to the NFL draft. I mean, there's, in my opinion, there's 5 schools going through here. I have it all done now, but there's 5 schools that have 2 losses or less. LSU and Alabama both have 2 losses. Texas, Georgia, and Ole Miss both have 1 loss. Just to me, I mean, again, it does kind of how much of this is, teams being good. But this is where, honestly, I might reverse myself and say, hey, LSU, baby, we're back. We're back to being the toughest environment to play in because y'all are right. They did have Brian Kelly. That's got to be for at least, -5 losses. So, like,
For sure.
they're in the they're in the plus territory right now.
Consider how faithful those people are, how loyal and supportive.
No.
They're always.
They're crazy.
When they
They're
stop
insane.
showing up, I mean, shit's gone really, really wrong with your program. If you've lost that faithfulness, you've lost that support, and getting drug around your own stadium by Marcel Reed and Texas A&M last year, I think was really, that was the kind of breaking point, obviously, for them and Brian Kelly. And, just that was, I think that we all knew in that moment, like, hey, he's cooked. This is it. These fans have conceded, and they don't really concede ever. So that was a pretty big moment. I'm glad that we got there, Nash. Long roundabout. But all right, real quick, guys, we're gonna hear from Lux Kitchen and Bath, and we'll go a few more minutes here.
Are you ready to love your kitchen and bathroom again? Lux Kitchen and Bath will bring that to life. Lux has been offering high-end kitchen and bathroom remodels for 3 generations throughout the greater Austin area. With 5-star review after 5-star review on Google and Facebook and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can put your faith in Lux Kitchen and Bath's award-winning designers and skilled craftspeople to bring your dream vision to life. But that's not all. Lux's all-star team also provides full home remodels, large additions, and even commercial build-outs as well. So call Lux Kitchen and Bath at 833-358-LUX today, or visit luxkitchenbath.com to discover where quality meets luxury and begin the process of transforming your home. Get your free quote today by calling 833-358-LUX. That's LUXE, or by visiting luxkitchenbath.com. Contact info is in the description.
It is kind of weird how many similarities there are with this Texas-Ohio State situation. And you go back 20 years, you have Texas playing Ohio State at DKR, potential top 2 matchup. You have year before Texas beating Michigan in a bowl game. The year before Texas playing at Columbus. Now Texas won that game in 2005. Unlike they did in 2025. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy. It does feel, like I feel a little bit younger, which makes us feel good. It feels like I'm back in time a little bit, like Ben Chung, Colt McCoy days. But because of this, NIL and rev share, this is why it's a must win. Texas has 8 straight conference games, starting with Oklahoma. Obviously, you play 9 straight conference games, but you have the bye between Tennessee and OU. So starting with OU, you play 8 straight games, and 3 or 4 of those to finish are on the road, man. So from a depth standpoint, and I do love how nationally, there was some headline yesterday about how Georgia or Alabama doesn't have the 3rd or 4th stringers that they used to anymore. They didn't know if they had the depth that they used to have. Well, yeah, man. I'm glad that we're all paying attention to college football and how it's working now.
Welcome to the show.
Jesus Christ, we've been screaming this for 3 years. But this is a must-win game. You have to win that game because I couldn't talk about depth without bringing that comment up. It was insane. Welcome to the party. Did you guys know about the party deck at the Dish? I would prefer a party deck in left field than going to Omaha. Well, I can tell you right now, that sounds like a man that's never been to Omaha. Not to knock our guys out in left field. You get to be live in the flesh in Omaha, Nebraska, man. You got the Omaha Zoo just right down the road. You've got fun golf courses, nice summer heat. I'm just saying, you can be at the Dish any time that you want, Joshy. But that party deck is going to be a blast. Any details or tidbits on that, Nash or Michelle, if you have any?
No comment from me. I don't know anything about it. So
I saw the comment today, but I didn't know if there were any details released.
I already got the left field group I need. I'll occupy left field. Maybe they're. I haven't seen the details on that or any comments on it. So I've been kind of busy today. But
one thing that I did notice was, I think, because I saw the headline from the media availability, but kind of teasing that there are more changes to come probably at the end of the season to the Dish to just kind of improve the environment as a whole. So I think that's exciting, but I don't know anything about specifically the party deck or anything like that.
I mean, I wonder if, like, to what Josh was saying, if it's a deal where, like, they're just, because I mean, this is kind of an issue when it rains out there. You're just tromping around in mud and grass. So maybe they are, like, putting like because in the Occupy Left Field group, they all go out there, they bring their own tents, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe they're doing something with Occupy Left Field to kind of make it more official. But it'll be interesting to see what's happening. I mean, they already have they got the Yeti yard, they got the right field fence, the
Right.
Ford Tough tailgate, which that's a really cool place because they actually have like actual tailgates that you can pull off the wall
Mhm.
and sit on a tailgate. So like it's the painting is actually kind of functional too. But they've been using that whatever space they can, because that's the other thing is like they'll all say, hey, let's wrap the stadium in seats. We literally can't do that. On top of let's go ahead and start selling out these games first before we even start. Let's consistently show up and get these games overly packed where people are like it's standing room only before we start talking about adding seats like that. But even if they wanted to, they couldn't because they're landlocked by city streets.
I mean, yeah, and again, a lot of people struggle. That's obviously the grass comment, Chris. We see that. There's been, I mean, it is what it is. Texas being this, or Austin being the city that it is, you can kind of locked into that property, obviously. So yeah, I like that maybe you can't move it, you can't wrap it in seats, you can't have natural grass. It doesn't mean that they're not going to try to raise the environment in any way that they can. And again, shout out to Occupy Lift Field and all the things that they do. Josh, that was a funny comment. So yeah, put it up. This is hilarious. Now this is. Yeah, Kodak 2 decades ago, you are old. That's when Ted Ginn and Santonio Holmes and yada yada. That
Legends.
legends. That we are old. It is happening fast. Chris, might be the comment of the show right here. We should all bet on Texas to be more connected to one another. God, I'm telling you, man, that is iconic. Great comment there, Chris. Again,
Yeah.
referring to the Brendan Sorsby situation in Texas Tech. Obviously, there is a new judge involved with that case. Now, when you see the picture of the judge and the Red Raider mascot, college football in a nutshell.
Hey, I mean, well, the all I will say is the new judge is supposed to be from Baylor and Texas A&M. Hey, Sorsby, it's a good thing you didn't commit to Texas, because if you're a Longhorn brother, you're looking at a life sentence right now. Like,
Yeah,
let's just be honest.
The schools don't necessarily love them either. Yeah.
No, I mean, but they don't hate. I'll say they don't hate them as much.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. That's right.
The judge literally had no choice but to recuse himself, because if he ruled in favor of Sorsby, college football world is going to kill him. If he rules against Sorsby, Lubbock is going to kill him. So he had no choice. No choice.
No, well said. There was always a lose-lose situation as soon as that got brought to light that he was involved there. Are they installing grass at DKR? As far as I know, yes. What did Max say about that? I didn't see those comments. I cannot stand turf. I'm very anti-turf, but I obviously know the maintenance and commitment it takes to to having a grass playing surface. But yeah, what are y'all's preference? Y'all like the grass or the turf on DKR? I can't stand turf.
I think that the whole argument is one of the dumbest things in the world, because hold on, let me get to it. Because half of the SEC teams, literally 50% of them, have turf. So immediately 50% of y'all cannot talk any sort of shit at all. No, y'all just aren't allowed to. Georgia fans will sit here and they will go at Texas for having turf while they don't even have dirt on their mound. They don't even have a dirt mound. They have a turf mound, right? It could be worse. Personally, what I would like to see, because I thought we did the turf before the turf was popular, before turf was kind of a thing. I would like to see, going back to what we used to have, where we have the turf and we have the dirt islands. So all the bases are surrounded by dirt. Home plate is dirt. The pitching mound is dirt. I think that's unique, right? That would be like a Texas thing. That's kind of what I remember from growing up as a kid. I don't necessarily have one take or another. Like, obviously grass is nice. Like, this has come from a guy that I would absolutely love, and I cannot wait until we get rid of turf inside DKR. I love the smell of grass, like all that stuff, just the aesthetics of it. Grass is really good. But as far as like a playing surface too, I mean, I played on turf. I played on grass. Well-manicured grass is really good, and there is a little bit of a home field advantage to knowing how your grass plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't mind our guys playing on turf. I I think as far when I hear about a lot of teams sit there and go, "Oh, it's a shame that you have grass or you have turf." It's like, okay, Arkansas, LSU, like there's a short list of teams that can actually go out there and give us crap about it.
I've already booed one of your takes, so I don't want to do it again, Nash. Michelle, what about you?
You can boo as many takes as you want.
No, I'd rather have grass. I do feel like it's just better overall for the health of the players, honestly. And I mean, aesthetically, I like grass better as well. But for me, I was really excited. I think it was 2 years ago now when they made the announcement they were going to go to grass. And I know it got pushed back because of the indoor facility, but I'm very excited for when that happens. And yeah, I think I just saw CB said the timeline may have changed. Wouldn't it surprise me if maybe they want to push it till like maybe at the end of this football season or something. But I mean, I guess they have to now, right? Like football season's around the corner. But yeah, I'm excited for grass.
I mean, another thing about turf too is especially like when you're talking about baseball is limited in NIL. Especially at a school like Texas, where a lot of the NIL funds are going to be directed towards football. Mm-hmm. And then anything after that, it's probably going to be a lot of it's going to be directed towards basketball. Baseball, there's lost revenue if we don't have camps. If we're having to have kids stay off the field.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you have turf, doesn't matter if it's 20 degrees outside, doesn't matter what it is. You can grow grass, or not grow grass, but you can have players. You can have players on there where other times you literally cannot grow grass because it's too cold outside, or whatever, or it rains and games get rained out. That's lost revenue. That's revenue that these summer camps, games being hosted at the Dish. That's revenue that Texas baseball. That's Texas baseball, and Texas baseball does not get touched by other sports. So, look. I'm fine with keeping turf. It means we get another Dylan Blantis. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Nash. I'll just leave it at Nash. I'm big art.
Hey, if someone wants to, drop some $1 million bags and, try and get it to where we get grass, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that too.
I mean, I get it. Like, yeah, everything's about the dollar, man. Unfortunately, it sucks, but. If you had a preference, Nash, if the money was not of the thing, you're a grass guy, right? You're going grass first, DKR, any playing surface. It feels like in your heart, you're taking grass.
I'm still going to say turf on the Dish. No, just because
you're going to come back to grass just like you did with LSU.
No, I will not. No, I will not. No,
you're going to circle back.
This is another 45 minutes.
This is me and Top Gun. Okay, this is my childhood. Okay, I think that I loved it when I was a kid, right? I'll still love it when I get old, and I'll love it when I'm in a casket and I'm dead pushing the worms on 6 feet under. I mean, I can't. Look. I know it's an easy thing to hate. It's like the whole stuff. I mean, hating on Texas gets you free likes on Twitter. It was unique when we started it back when we had the AstroTurf. I like it. The only thing that I want is dirt around the bases. Okay, that's the only thing that I would change. Now, a lot of people can hate me for my comments. Hate me, sue me. Don't sue me, please.
Don't sue me.
Nash likes softball a lot. That's what I'm going to take from this. Nash just really likes softball. He likes softball fields for his baseball. I can't do it, Nash. I agree with you. Dirt will go a long way.
I think we have grass on our softball fields.
Well, the majority of college softball fields are not grass. The comment section is wild. You broke my heart. I don't really have words for you because I'm absolutely just perplexed that anybody out there, especially like a baseball purist, wants baseball played on artificial grass.
It's unique.
You and your candy ass little baby. You want simple 1, 2, 3 ground balls and hops. You don't want any guessing. All right, you didn't grow up playing in a rocky infield. Okay, I can tell that. Okay, you're smooth. You're too polished for me as a baseball guy, Nash. Too polished.
Josh is gonna sue you.
Joshy's coming for Nash after the show. I think he's mad about the grass. He's not. I'm not half as mad as Joshy is.
He's gonna ask for the invite link.
Listen, I'll just say I cared 10 times as much about having grass on DKR as I do the dish because of health, because of limiting injuries. Okay, I've seen the numbers. Like, I do not, and I'm still going back. I'm still pissed at Farrow Field in Columbia, Missouri, and Fozzie Whitaker and the crap surface that he had to go play on. That didn't wreck his career, but man, it hurt him. I hate this stuff, man, because you got to maintain this stuff too. Otherwise, it becomes absolutely unplayable. And a lot of these schools like Texas, sure, you can go replace your turf, and do it on the timeline that it needs to be. We're out, your athletes suffering it all, but not every school can do that. And you go out there and look at some of these playing surfaces, and they're crap. They're pretty bad.
I mean, there was a turf field recently that actually a dude was sliding into home plate, and his hand got underneath the seam, and his arm got.
And you're still sitting here.
I don't think he was like injured bad, but I mean, their turf is not without there are negatives to it, right?
Well, you know how Arch was wearing that leg sleeve last year? I think it's because he got a really bad turf burn from sliding, and then he just cut the sleeve on.
How many grass burns have you picked up in your life running the football, Nash? I'm just curious.
Grass burns. I picked up plenty of grass burns, but I've also picked up, like I said, I played on turf. I mean, hey.
That's a really good example, Chris.
Slide head first, burn up those arms. I mean,
I was always.
I don't really look. I like sliding on turf too.
I think.
I will say, the people that are the maddest at me right now are equipment managers because white baseball pants on turf pellets. Literally the only way that you can fix them. Throw them in the trash and get new ones. That's the only way you can get them white again.
I tell you what, Joshy, I'm in the middle of a flag football day the other day, and we're playing on one of the local high school fields, and so it's turf, and they got the little turf beads, and something happens in the game, and I'm like on a knee, and I'm like just hitting the ground over and over, like not like a madman. I was just like making a point to the guys, and I swear to you, like one of the little black turf beads was so high, like it had melted into my skin first. I was just like, I hadn't had that issue with grass. I'm just saying, but. All right, guys, we have gone a little bit long here, and Michelle and I both have to get out of here. But hey, thanks for watching Inside Texas today. Thanks for being with us and having some fun banter. This was one of the more fun shows I think the three of us has had, just kind of going at it and sharing some opinion and getting all of your thoughts and takes up as well. So we definitely appreciate you being here with us. Nash, thank you for doing it. Michelle, thank you. Evan Beef and I will be on tomorrow night, guys. So come check it out. But yeah, thanks for watching for Inside Texas. And also don't forget about the $1 flash sale, $1 for 3 months to get you part of the Inside Texas and On3 community. And until next time, guys, welcome Horns.